Good evening and welcome to the UFC 262 predictions video. I'm Andrade. You can follow me on all the social medias /Andrade. We will be live streaming the event as well tonight. We have currently a 65% correct pick win ratio. We got 100% correct on the last card, leg injuries notwithstanding. So we're going to crack on with UFC 262. First, we have Schnell versus Rogerino Bontorin. I hope I haven't butchered his name. Schnell is coming in with a 15-5 record and Bontorin coming in with 16-3. Bontorin having a majority of success via submission, and I believe Schnell is the same. Most of his are submission as well. I just feel Schnell is more dangerous, and not because that's his nickname. I just feel like he's just, from what I've seen, he just seems to be a more dangerous, a more calm, and what's the word I'm looking for? Technically. And he makes the right decisions at the right time in comparison. Therefore, I'm going to go with Schnell, probably by submission or points victory. Moving on to Burgos versus Edson Barboza. I believe this fight is going to be the best fight of the night. By a long way, if I'm honest. Burgos is coming in with a minus 145 favourite, and personally I believe it's rightfully so. Although he has less fights and less wins than Barboza, the only TKO loss on his record, I believe, is to Calvin Kattar, and if I remember correctly, that was back in 2018. Therefore, I'm going to go with Burgos because he's only got one actual loss in terms of a finish, the other one by decision. And I think ever since Khabib faced Barboza's just not looked the same. He just doesn't seem to have that edge that he used to have. Therefore, we're going to go with Burgos by TKO or submission. Katlyn Chookagian, the decision queen. Not much more needs to be said, really. Chookagian by points. Moving on to the co-main event now, with the Nate Diaz and Leon Edwards fight being pushed off onto the next card. We have El Cucuy, Tony Ferguson versus Beneil Dariush. What an absolute war this is going to be. It's going to be very similar to the Burgos versus Barboza fight. I feel like this fight will be sink or swim for Ferguson. Personally, I think if Ferguson loses this fight, Dana will cut him from the UFC. I don't think he should, because I'm still hoping for that McGregor versus Ferguson match. I don't think it'll ever happen. I feel Ferguson will come out victorious, probably by points. I just feel he will do enough to get his hand raised at the end of the fight. It will go the distance, I think. So I'm going to go with El Cucuy, Tony Ferguson by points. On to the main event now. We have the Bronx Charles Oliveira versus Iron Michael Chandler. Every time I look at the stats and the tapes, I have Michael Chandler winning. And for some reason, he's the underdog. And I cannot figure out why. Is it because he was just in Bellator and they don't realise just how good he is? Or do the bookies know something that we don't? Because it's very rare that the bookies are wrong. Let's be honest, because that's how they all stay in business. I can't see a way in which Charles Oliveira wins this match. I just can't. He's not better on the feet. He's not better at wrestling. Everything changes. However, he is better at jiu-jitsu. That is where there is a big, and I mean it's a big gap. It is a huge gap between him and Chandler when it comes to jiu-jitsu. But Chandler's wrestling is seriously good. If any striker was to beat Khabib, it would probably be Chandler. With Khabib gone, I'm not saying Khabib would lose to Chandler. because I have a theory which I'm going to go into in a couple of minutes or so. I just don't see Charles winning this fight, as I've already said. However, now that I'm recording this fight, this pick for you guys, I don't know how, but I see Charles finishing Chandler. I see DuBronx submitting Chandler. I don't know if it's because of this theory or fantasy in my head that I'm going to explain to you now, which I believe, if all the theory here, I believe Khabib had input in Charles Oliveira being in this fight. He was the only fighter, I believe, that Khabib commented on and said that he looked good when he beat Ferguson. And I think if Oliveira beats Chandler, and if he beats Poirier, because that will be the next fight, Poirier and McGregor, and I think Poirier will win. If Oliveira beats Chandler and Poirier, I believe we will see Khabib come out of retirement for a one-off match against DuBronx. Now, is this my heart thinking I want Khabib to come back to have another fight, so I'm thinking Charles is going to win tonight? Because my head is saying Chandler's going to beat him within 2 rounds. But I just feel Charles seems to have this almost untapped potential that we haven't seen yet. I wouldn't say he's burst onto the scene since going to 155, because he's been undefeated since being at 155, but he's taller, and with tall comes skeletal mass, muscle mass, and we know Chandler is muscular, but the skeletal mass of Charles, being 2 inches taller, is a lot of weight, especially when you're rehydrated, because your muscles and your bones, and you all know how it all works. I just feel Chandler won't go for a takedown, and if he does, he'll get caught in a guillotine. And I think then, if that happens, the ability that Charles has, because the black belt jiu-jitsu is ridiculous that he's got, I think it's 3rd tier black or some ridiculous stat like that, he has the ability to just quickly get to the back and submit him. And I think that is how Charles wins. I think Charles somehow gets like a rear naked or some form of bulldog choke, or even potentially an arm triangle or something. I just feel 3rd, 4th, 5th round, I think Charles will withstand the stand up. I think he'll keep the distance, because that's what he needs to do. He's got a bigger reach, and I think that's what he needs to do, is keep on the outside, keep tapping him up, because Chandler likes to come in and be explosive. And what Chandler seems to do, which you will all see from the tape, when he comes in and lunges in, he lunges in, but then he's vulnerable, but it's only for a split second. And I do feel that Oliveira will capitalise on that. So my official pick for the lightweight championship at UFC 262 is DuBronx Charles Oliveira by submission or points. He will then face Dustin Poirier at something like UFC 268, something like that. And then we will see Charles Oliveira versus Khabib Nurmagomedov at something like UFC 276. Just a fantasy, just a theory. But I would not be surprised if Chandler wins. That's what I've been saying all week. My pick all week has been Chandler. I've even gone as to saying bet the house on Chandler on multiple occasions. But as I'm doing this recording, I cannot say that to you. I just, for some reason, feel Charles Oliveira is going to get the job done. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to watch the live stream tonight at twitch.tv/Dan3HitYou. You can probably also watch it on YouTube as well. Keep safe and look after yourselves. See you tonight and enjoy the pay-per-view.